Good morning, traders. It's Perry Wookie with StartupTrading.com. It is basically 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, December 17th. So looking back at yesterday's action, right, had a decent range in the overnight session for both of the indexes, and it was a little bit, you know, two different distributions, a split distribution for each in the overnight. And then coming into the bell, once again yesterday, the NASDAQ could not take out the overnight high while the ES did and pretty much closed on it. So a little bit of more weakness in the NASDAQ so far in the last several trading sessions. But the profile itself looked fairly balanced. It wasn't, there weren't any real anomalies to it. And if we look at what we had the SPY. We remember last week we were in that 680 to 690 trading range with a flip on 685. Uh, well, now we've traded down to 675 basically. 674.98 was the low for yesterday. And then, most of the action yesterday was between 675 and 680. We're around 680 right now as I speak, 681, I guess. And then, so we'll see if that's, satisfies the trading gods or not. The title of my video is, with the VIX roll. Uh, sorry, you know, what can the S&P stay above 680? So with volatility, it's hard to believe. Well, it has been kind of contracted the last several sessions. From now into the end of the week, volatility should start creeping up. Uh, it might be a little tighter on Friday, right? But sometime later this afternoon, possibly even this morning, volatility could increase. And then tomorrow should be basically a drive one way or the other with going into the settlement on Friday. So we'll see. I have no idea what's going on there. I guess I clicked something. So let's see. Get that off of there. Sorry about that. So, but basically, 610, 605 for the Qs were the overnight level, right? So we'll get into it. Still just sitting up here in this large distribution in the up. Remember, we have three high volume nodes since we made this low. Uh, and before, we've been distributing on this for a while, or taking distribution up here. But from November 21st, right, it still just gets sucked back up in these three high volume nodes. And you can see we're building overhead supply potentially. If we do get a bigger pullback, right, there's going to be a lot of unhappy campers as we kind of sketch down. If you look below, you can see how much thinner the profile is, basically between 65, 6600 all the way down to around 6150. There's not a lot of action that has taken place in that area as we sketched up from there. And then still going to look at this for another day or so, but we come back down. We'll see on the NASDAQ if it finally put in a session hammer candle yesterday. And we'll see if the ES, right, the NASDAQ is already trading or has some trades above yesterday's session high while the ES does not yet. We'll see if it can follow suit. And then looking at, where we are for yesterday's profile, we do still have that split up in the auction, so keep in mind until we can get above 517, uh, and then you got 568 as expected, high of the day. What I'd like to see is if we can get start building action above the expected high of the day. That could lead to a bigger squeeze up into maybe 750 to 800 is what I'd say. And then looking at the ES in the same way, just profile and structure wise, um, getting up above this 68.97 to 69.02, probably just gonna get up to right around this 69.28 is all I would expect. I don't see us really taking out too aggressively anything above there, but we'll watch the one time framing on the 30-minute candles, right? That's what we do in profile theory, and then for fair value gaps on it. Um, looking at, you know, positioning, there's still nothing really to hang your hat on for this week with the cash market, right? If you look down at all of the action below, right, 7,000, as we've said for this whole quarter, that's your magnet or your top end until proven otherwise going into the end of the year. Uh, And then you can see if we look at Friday's expiration, right? That's the quad witch. You can see 6850's got some gamma on it, 6900. Those are your larger gamma areas for Friday. Uh, and we'll just have to see what we get from that. You should start eyeing those at this point in time for the to see where we could be drawn to into OPEX and quad witch. Looking at, you can see we got some gamma built between that 674 and 680 area now, and you can see there's a lot between 680 and 681 now. So that's going to be your real battle zone to see if we can flip and hold over that again. Again, we're trading right around 681 right now, so that leaves all these uh, bears down here in the dirt, and then we'll have to see, can we get a test of 685? Um, and then looking at its expiration, there's not a lot. It's just the big $5 markers on the SPY. Nothing really fancy going on. Not a lot on 695. Not a lot on 675. Uh, and then looking at the Qs, currently the Qs are trading uh, 614 after closing at 612 basically. Uh, so we're right in there. So we'll have to see if you can get over 615, right? That's the real crux of the matter. But for the week, 600 should still be your floor, and we'll have to see. 620 is probably around your top end of the what's reasonable. And we'll have to see if we get some volatility. We could get some pops between some of these large gamma levels going into the end of the week. And if you look at the quad witch, right, 600 is your largest gamma here, and then 620 a little bit, but you can see how much larger the 600 is so far, and we'll see if you know, excuse me, you've got about 72,000 puts, and you've got about 40,000 calls on that level with tomorrow you're going to have just 4,400 sitting there. So these numbers for the daily, right, they get dwarfed by the week. So not a, it is what it is, but you should start paying attention to Friday's gamma levels now. And then still, that's still the game plan for me. Uh, there's, large gamma at 613 for today and then 618. So we'll see if you can get out of that. So that's not on the fives. So that's why I'm noting it for you. So 613 to 618, that's your gamma play, ping pong, potentially, which would frustrate some people that aren't aware that they're there. And then, so 680 is still the bogey line to see if you can stay above. And then the 1 day expected move is right around 683 for today. And we'll, see what we get. Watch the cash market when it opens. Remember yesterday when we opened, right? We just had that, you know, just going around and getting stuck right underneath and heading down into that 675. So I'm hoping that I think it would be better for us day traders if this was a little bit of at least a one session bear trap between 675 and 680. So that's going to be your flip. You could potentially get a quick run down to 677 if you lose 680 this morning after the opening bell. I hope this helps you guys have a great day. We'll see what Jack's looking at next, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.